I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today is going to be all about watercolor pencils. I have had these watercolor pencils for probably 10 years or more. I think they're one of the first art supplies that I played with. I have the Derwent Inktense watercolor pencils, Derwent Metallic, and just plain Derwent watercolor pencils. Additionally, I have some General Kimberly watercolor pencils. I love the Inktense, but we are going to play with all of them today and just draw and doodle and see what we can create. The purpose is to play with the art supplies that we have and see what we can create with them. I am going to start off with the watercolor, but I know that I may end up adding some other art supplies on top of it just because I just love the mixed media look. I'm going to be using a Moleskine sketchbook. This is a giant Moleskine sketchbook that I'm going to be using, but I'm also going to be using watercolor paper simply because it's watercolor pencil, so I'm going to be adding water to it. I'm not sure how much water the Moleskine sketchbook can handle, so I thought I'd play around with both. So we're going to have a look at them, but we're also going to doodle. Because I'm going to be drawing, this video is for anyone who's interested in drawing and sketching and seeing how these watercolor pencils perform, but you don't need the watercolor pencils to join along with me. It's always sort of an art journal drawing session, creating session where I invite everyone to join me. Don't need to be an artist, you just need to be interested in being creative, and if you have an art journal or a sketchbook, it doesn't matter. We are going to jump in and get started, and I hope you join me. I spent some time this morning doodling, and this is a couple of things that I came up with and what I'm going to be doing today. I just want to show you before I begin. I am really on a bird kick lately. This kind of bird and these sketchy faces. I did this one as well today. And there's, this one. This is what I'm inspired, something similar to this. I like just the birds and the face. It's going to be a loose, sketchy session. If you're new to drawing faces or new to my channel, I do have an ebook on how to draw faces, and I'll leave the link in the comment section. We're going to be practicing using two types of paper with these watercolor pencils. To get started, I'm just going to use an Artex colored pencil, and I'm going to just draw a few faces, just because that's what I feel like doing today. Faces and birds. And we're going to see what we can create. And I did kind of like the lady holding the birds. And my art is not about perfection. I think most of you know that. I'm going to draw, she's going to be an angel. And we'll give her some fancy hair. But there will be a bird in her hair. Again, I have ebooks on how to draw faces. We'll get that wing a little bit so that it doesn't completely cover her face, but her hair is mixed in. I could have drawn this with a watercolor pencil, however, I don't want this part to smudge. These are my lines. I like the messy lines, so I'm not too worried about it. I like the messy drawing, so I'm not concerned that these lines are going to show through. The goal for me is to play with the watercolor pencils. And I'm just drawing a line for her lips because I'm going to use a colored pencil there. And I do kind of like that I did the circle. So I like on this one, that I did these circles. I like that I did these flowers. This was just like a random doodling session this morning, but I really feel inspired by that. And the fact is, honestly, it's harder to draw when you're doing a YouTube video than if you're just sitting on your own and playing with your art supplies. But I'm going to jump in with these colored pencils and I'm just going to color her. Some of these are the Derwent. This one's just a Derwent watercolor pencil. It's not the Inktense. I do like the Inktense. I'm going to get, do I want her hair done with the Inktense? I think I like this one here, which is a general Kimberly. I'm going to do her hair because I just really like the sort of like creamy yellow. It's like a, I don't know, it's a beigey yellow. I like this color versus that bright yellow. But you can add more colored pencils on to create like shadows and that kind of thing. Right now, I'm just going to map in. And I'm making her hair sort of come around. And now I'm adding a little bit of water. You can add a little or a lot, but I think I just want a little bit for her lips. And for their cheeks. I'm going to play with all the colors. We have a green. I really like these general Kimberly ones, but I'm going to make this bird green. I really like the Kimberly. I'm not sure why. I like the sort of muted colors, but let's try an Inktense. Do I want a green Inktense? I don't think so because I just had that one. I think, let's see, do I have a blue Inktense? Oh, I do have a blue one. I have this really pretty blue Inktense and we are going to color this bird in. And I'm not trying to be neat or tidy with my drawing. It would just take way too long. Okay, let's see. I'm using a smaller brush for this one. So the Inktense is just a really bright, and it's Inktense. You know what I mean? Like it's an intense color and it looks really good. And I honestly think, yeah, I knew you could sort of transfer some of it when you have the water. And this would look really probably much better on watercolor paper. You don't even have to add water if you don't want to. You can even just add colored pencils onto this and make it look really pretty. It all depends on the paper you have and how much it can handle. Oh, that is so pretty. I will say the Derwent, actually, I really like both, but I like taking some of it and dragging it down here and maybe not coloring everything in exactly the same. Is get this pretty pink and do like a circle for her cheeks. And then add a tiny bit of water. To her cheeks. It's really, really fun to play with your art supplies. One of the things I am noticing as I continue to draw in color is that if I add a little water to the paper, I tried a few different things, but if I add a little water to the paper and then I take my watercolor pencil, do I have a purple? Oh, I do, I have a purple. And then I take my watercolor pencil, I wonder if this, it just really, you could do a pattern, but it's like smudgy. And the pink works amazing. Watch this, pink is so beautiful. Maybe I'll do it a flower, because that's what I had. But if you like messy marks like me, smudgy, sort of dreamy marks, it really works to wet the paper. And I don't know, I don't know if this will work with the Strathmore. Maybe I'll do one more down here if I wet the paper. I tried wetting the pencil, but that just, yeah, it didn't have the kind of effect I was looking for. But this kind of just smudges right away. And I could add more water on top, but I don't really feel like I need to because there's already a lot of water on the paper. And it just creates this beautiful effect. And then my pencil is still a bit wet, so I'm just gonna add something to the cheeks of these birds. I might add a little orange to them as well. I don't think I'm gonna wet that. I'm really loving how this looks. Now I could add all sorts of other details to this if I wanted to, but for the sake of time and because I want to practice on Strathmore watercolor paper and do another drawing, this is going to be it for my practice on the Moleskine paper. This isn't complete. I know that I'm going to finish this off. I'm going to add a whole bunch of stuff, maybe some writing around it. But for now, I'm happy with the watercolor and how it performed on this paper. This is the second drawing I did. It was completed on the Strathmore watercolor paper. I wanted to see how these colored pencils work with the watercolor paper. I am using Inktense watercolor pencils with anything red and yellow. The light blue and the light pink are the, woody, Stabilo woody pencils, just because I don't have these pale colors. Although I do have this one. Let's add a little bit of it here, just so we can see how it looks. You can just see this watercolor. Like, this stuff is meant to be used with the watercolor paper. Look how beautiful that is. And I'm only using a little bit of water. I used a Sharpie marker to draw this with. And now I know I could probably blend this together for a nice effect and make it really pretty. Oh, I like the way that looks. I'm rinsing out my brush and we're going to get our hair in. The hair color for the Inktense is called Bark. Now, again, these Inktense pencils I got many years ago. I don't know if they changed the names of the color, but wow, this is beautiful. There is no doubt in my mind that the Inktense will perform so much better on watercolor paper. However, I really like my Moleskine Sketchbook. So this is red. There we go. Oh, that is so pretty. You can see the Inktense is really, really bright and cheery on the watercolor paper versus, well, actually they're both pretty bright. Now that I look at them, I like them both. I think they're a different style, but both super fun. I know that I'm going to be playing with my watercolor pencils more often. I really like this effect of the blended colors and just allows you a little more control over your artwork if you want that. These are the final two drawings that I did. I finished this one with some acrylic. Well, I used a gold acrylic marker, Liquitex marker for the stars, and a white gel pen for the details. And I highlighted her hair with a darker yellow gouache. But this was so much fun. I had a lot of fun using my watercolor pencils. I'm going to continue on using them in my art journal. I'd love to hear how this exercise went for you, whether you drew along with me or tried your own colored pencils or art supplies. Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic day and happy creating.